10 PS2 games based on movies. Shrek 2. A lot of folks will see the name Shrek in the title of any media and have their minds instantly diverted to ironic internet memes. But it's important to remember that, long before such mockery took hold, the ogre was a juggernaut mascot for DreamWorks, and the PS2 adaptation of his sequel, i.e. the best film of the four, is great fun. Swapping between Shrek himself, Princess Fiona, Donkey, and others, you'll navigate what essentially boils down to a co-op puzzle platformer, albeit with that anarchic far away humor peppered in. Bashing enemies with Jingy's candy cane is a saccharine treat, as is using Shrek's considerable bulk to launch his mates off seesaws and bludgeon assailants. Jurassic Park, Operation Genesis. Everyone who watches Jurassic Park and sees John Hammond's naive mismanagement of his reserve teeming with bloodthirsty carnivores assumes, perhaps misguidedly, I could have a crack at that. Well, Operation Genesis allows you to attempt that very thing. And while modern players are perhaps better off with the newer Jurassic World Evolution Park sim, genre purists will still be entertained by the OG. The daily running of Jurassic Park is placed at your quaking fingertips. Everything from where to place the toilets, to ensuring the herbivores aren't fed poisonous plants, to maintaining a steady stream of non-human meat for the T-Rexes must be delicately balanced. Of course, it's inevitable that at some stage Jurassic Park tradition will be adhered to and a dino will bust out. So you'd better hope your trank guns get to it before it decides a guest looks appetizing. Enter The Matrix. It would be difficult to name a more quintessential staple of early 2000s pop culture than The Matrix. For years, everyone and their mother were doing parodies of and references to this sci-fi action classic, and who are we kidding, they still are, so a video game tie-in was a dead cert. Enter the Matrix employs the fact that Neo already has video game-like abilities to great effect. You can do slow-motion side flips that last about as long as your average commercial break, shoot bullets with pinpoint precision, and scale vast skyscrapers like it ain't no tang. Sure, the hit detection's ropey, and the actor likeness is appalling, but for the raw cool factor, it can't be beaten. Kung Fu Panda. DreamWorks' Kung Fu Panda franchise is the definitive example of see the title and laugh, only to realize it's a total gem when you sit down to watch it, and fellow alumni of this school include Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and the Lego Movie. Fittingly, then, Poe's PS2 debut is a far more solid outing than you'd expect. Tapping into that tried and true God of War essence that has propelled many a mediocre brawler to success, you'll be guiding the tubby panda through skirmish upon skirmish in his quest to become the Dragon Warrior. The odd puzzle sections add variety, and the sheer number of comical combos you can pull off just elevates the cartoon antics.
This is our tea house.
The SpongeBob SquarePants movie. SpongeBob is no stranger to the whole licensed game deal. He had a stellar run on the 6th console gen, including Battle for Bikini Bottom, which became such a beloved cult hit that it was recently remade, or rehydrated, from the ground up on modern systems. For our list, though, we can't count it, so we'll go for the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Though not quite reaching the lofty heights of Battle for Bikini Bottom, this platformer still retains its core satisfying gameplay loop, which is perhaps to be expected since it's running off the exact same engine. The town is yours to explore in the paddy wagon, and a boss fight against a rabid Alaskan bullworm is a highlight. We're feeling it now, Mr. Krabs.
Is the room spinning or is it just me?
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Star Wars is yet another IP that's had no shortage of gaming forays. But while contemporary players might be content to immerse themselves in Cal Kestis' shiny, particle effect PS5 adventures, there'll always be a place for Revenge of the Sith's PS2 tie-in, a nostalgic favorite for many fans. It delivers everything from that galaxy far away that a 2005 title could reasonably be expected to. There are lightsaber duels aplenty, dogfights in the orbit of Coruscant, and just enough exploratory segments to create the illusion of freedom. Toss in a hell of a multiplayer mode, and a hysterical, low-res recreation of the Mustafar duel, and you've got something worth checking out for Padawans everywhere.
Deflect their fire.
The Godfather. Being that The Godfather is widely hailed as one of the greatest cinematic achievements in history, any video game version was going to have shoes the size of Marlon Brando's waistline to fill. For the task, EA Games were brought on board, and to the relief of cineasts everywhere, not only did they pull it off, but they did so with flair. The gritty, period-specific tone of the movie is perfectly encapsulated in the graphical style, which wisely plays to the PS2's strengths as opposed to straining its poor processors. It introduces a new character, Aldo Trapani, who's roped into the Corleone crime family and must navigate its savage internal politics. There are lashings of GTA in your ability to commandeer cars, and an intriguing moral compass system makes every playthrough unique.
You're gonna help me teach the kid how to gather himself. Now, let's see what you got. Okay.
Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Many video game tropes and series borrow so heavily from the fantasy mythology of Tolkien's work, think Legend of Zelda, for instance, that you'd think the Lord of the Rings game would be a snap. Interestingly, however, it would take Peter Jackson's big-budget movie adaptations for the dice to be properly rolled on such a project. All 3 chapters of the trilogy received PS2 titles, but The Two Towers is undoubtedly the best of the bunch. Curiously, the game spends a decent chunk of its opening act recapping Fellowship of the Ring, presumably so newbies can be all caught up before the meat of the action begins. And boy, does it begin! Your PS2 buttons will be getting a workout from all the hacking and slashing of orcs that ensues. Aragorn is best for those who prefer mindlessly charging into battle, while Legolas and Gandalf offer ranged attacks and magic, respectively.
Fierce attempts to destroy his shield!
The LEGO series, sure, we might be cheating by including multiple games in a single entry, but the LEGO series is such a cornerstone of the licensed genre that we couldn't ignore it. For 2 decades, TT Games have been reliably cranking out brickified versions of our favorite movies per annum, and arguably some of the best offerings in the lineup were on PS2. There's LEGO Star Wars 1 and 2, which laid the groundwork for the entire series with their tongue-in-cheek renditions of the prequels and the original trilogy, respectively. Indiana Jones, too, nabbed himself a plastic incarnation, complete with a polymer boulder to run from. And who could forget LEGO Batman, with its gut-busting costume mechanic and moody soundtrack? Spider-Man 2. Ask anyone who grew up with the PS2 to name the best movie games on offer, and odds are good Spider-Man 2 will be up there. Tremendously ahead of its time, it beat Insomniac Games to the punch of letting fans become the web-slinger himself, swinging through the city and busting criminals. New York City is rendered in an astonishing amount of detail given the technical constraints of the era, and the sheer amount of tasks to engage in is staggering. You can intercept bank robbers, enjoy a slice of pizza from atop an office block, and even chuck vehicles about with your webbing.
Spider-Man! I should have known this was going too easy.
Batter up! Careful, put someone's eye out.